yours will be
Oh,
active.
yeah. Did you want to share it?
Yeah, I'm gonna share it from yours.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm just hanging out for just a couple minutes waiting for a couple people to join. Good night, evening, good evening. Thanks for joining. Hey Daniela, I see you. We had a little mishap with my account, and so I'm on live on Wayne's tonight. So thanks for joining, guys. Hey Benny. Hey Chuck. Thanks for joining, guys. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and I guess get started. So first of all, thank you guys for joining on Wayne's. We had a little mishap with mine. We had to wait for my age verification, which can take up to 48 hours, unfortunately. So we just decided to kind of pivot and use Wayne's. So here I am. But I want to go through a study for the next couple of weeks of the names of God. So I wanted to start from the beginning, which is in Genesis, and that's Elohim. So the name Elohim actually means creator or supreme leader. It basically brings out and puts emphasis on God being the creator and being all powerful and almightiful. So I wanted to start off by just reading a little bit of Genesis 1 and where God shows himself as the creator. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God is hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw, and the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light dark and the darkness night. And evening passed and morning came, marking the first day. Then God said, "Let there be space between the waters to separate the waters of the heaven from the waters of the earth." And that is what happened. God made this space to create the waters of the earth from the waters of the heavens. God called the space sky. And evening passed and morning came, marking the second day. Then God said, "Let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground may appear." And that is what happened. God called the ground land and the waters sea. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant and trees that growing seeds bearing fruit. These seeds will then produce the kind of plants and trees from which they came." And that is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed-bearing plants, and the trees with seed-bearing fruit. Their seeds produced plants and trees of the same kind, and God saw it was good. And the evening passed and morning came, marking the third day. Then God said, let light appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Then the signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. So I'm going to skip just a little bit down to Genesis 1:20. Then God let the water swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind. And then we're going to skip a little bit just because I want to really draw out each thing that he created. Then God let the earth produce every sort of animal, each producing offspring of the same kind, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and wild animals. Then God said, let us make human beings. Then God said, so God created human beings in his own image. And in his image of God, he created them. Both male and female, he created them. So when I first started thinking about doing the books, doing the names of God and going through the books of the Bible, I started studying a little bit. And one of the things that got brought to me was through a Google search, honestly, that whoever had this interpretation of what Elohim had this interpretation of like that Elohim is not personal, that's not a personal name for God. It's not a personal God. And so at first I wrote that down in my notes in my Bible. I'll show it to you, but I don't know if I can, but I promise it's here. And then after a couple of days, I started thinking about that, and I started thinking, that's not really true. And right before I did the study, I started going through some other verses that God just laid on my heart. But before I do that, I do want to point out one thing. So even the demons believe that there is a creator and a higher power. So if all we believe is that there is a higher power, we're no better off than the demons. It's where we have that personal relationship and understand that God sees us and we see him, and we know God, and we know God through Jesus Christ. That's where that relationship becomes personal. So I can kind of agree with whoever that person was that interpreted, that Elohim is not a personal God, but it's the same God that he's one. But I think that they're just saying when you speak of God as just Elohim, that's not personal. But I do see it as a believer, if you're a believer, that Elohim is personal as well. So one of the things that stood out to me was actually in Luke 12:7. So I'm going to go to Luke 12:7 for a minute. And many of you guys might be familiar with this verse. Let's see. So in 12:7, it says, and the very hair on your heads are all numbered. So do not be afraid. You are more valuable to God than a whole flock of sparrows. So I think the reason why this spoke to me is just because God created every part of us. He created even the hairs on our head, like every single little intricate hair. God created and numbered. He numbered it perfectly. We were made in his image, and we were made so perfectly. And to me, that's so personal. There's nothing more personal than God knowing exactly how many hairs are on my head. So there's nothing more personal than knowing every little intricate thing about me. And then there was another verse that stood out to me, which was Isaiah 29:11, I believe. Let me see. I think that's where I was headed. We're going to go here. Melissa says she sheds hair a lot. Yeah, so think of every time you shed a hair, Melissa, God has to recount. I was actually in church. I can't remember who said that in a sermon that I was in one time, but they were like, every time you lose a hair, God has to recount. So if God's like recounting every single time you lose a hair, like how personal is that? How much God must care about us and every little thing about us. If he wants to know every single time we lose a hair, how many hairs we have in our head. I think that's awesome. So, 29:11. Let me see. Okay. So this is what speaks about the Lord being the potter and that we are the clay. So all the future events in this vision are like a sealed book to them. When you give it to those who can read it, they say, we can't read it because it was sealed. When you give it to those who cannot read, they'll say, you don't know how to read. And so the Lord says, these people say they are mine. They honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. And their worship of me is nothing man-made rules learned by rote. Because of this, I will once again astound their hypocrisies with amazing wonders. The wisdom of the wise will pass away, and the intelligence of the intelligent will disappear. What sorrow awaits those who try to hide their plans from the Lord, who do their evil deeds in the dark. The Lord can't see us, they say. He doesn't know what's going on. How foolish can you be? He is the potter, and he's certainly greater than you, the clay. Should the created things say of the one who made it, he didn't make me? Does a jar ever say the potter who made me is stupid? So again, that just goes back and it really speaks to me about, God knows every way that we were made, every thought that passes our mind, every action that we take, even in the dark, and he still loves us in spite of that. He still loves us in spite of the things that we do that no one else knows, the thoughts that we have that no one else knows. He still loves us in spite of that. And he knows it all. So he knows that because he created us. He is the potter. He knows exactly how many hairs are on our head. He knows every thought we're going to have from the time that we are born to the time that we die. He knows every word that we're going to speak. He knows every good action and bad action that we are going to take. Yet, even in our darkness and even in our times that we don't follow him, God still loves us. So that was just something that I wanted to speak on a little bit, and I wanted to go over when we're going over Elohim, because a lot of people see God that are not true believers. They just believe in a deity or believe in a higher being. They believe that God's like this distant being out there, and to me, I don't know how you can believe that God created all the things that we see on this earth, and God created us, and not want a personal relationship with him, not want to just be in total awe and in total thanksgiving every day, that he wants a personal relationship with us and that he knows everything about us. And that's really all I had for today as far as Elohim goes. The next one that I want to go over next week is going to be, I believe I'm going to go over El Roi, which I'm super excited about. It's one of my favorite stories in the Bible. I have a really good friend that really introduced me to the story where El Roi actually came into the Bible, like the very first time, which is the God who sees me. So I'm really excited about that one. I was actually debating on whether to save it, just because, like, for a time when almost like when I needed it, but I think I'm gonna do it just because I know that somebody out there needs to hear it, and I don't know who needed to hear what I put out there today. I don't know if somebody was feeling like they were far from God, and they wanted, God wanted me to just remind them how close and how fearfully and wonderfully made we are. I don't know, but I just know that these are the things that bring me peace when I get into the Word, is just knowing how personal our God is. So that's all I really had for tonight, but we can hang out for a minute or two. Thanks, Benny. I appreciate you saying I'm doing fantastic. I'm just putting the word out that God told me to put out. So I appreciate you guys a lot. It's really weird being on Wayne's phone, by the way. Like, he has all these weird things popping up, and I'm like, what is this? Like, it's like things that he's, like, apps that he's on and stuff, and like there's like stuff popping up all over the place. Oh, thanks, Mama. I love you. My mother-in-law's on here. I appreciate you guys giving me support. I was hoping that I could be on my own live tonight, but things happen for a reason, and it is what it is. So, but I hope you guys will join again next week. In all honesty, once a week is about all I can commit to this. This is a lot for me, but not that I'm nervous. Nervous isn't the right word. I'm just, I want to put everything that I have into when I go live. I don't want to just do something just out of like something transactional. So I want to make sure that I am studied up on it and that I know what I'm talking about when I actually deliver the word and when we actually study something, and hopefully I can bring Wade's on mine says I'm supposed to sing. Okay. What am I singing? I don't know that song, Trina. I don't know that song. Careless Whisper. I'm sorry. I'm not prepared to sing that song, but I will sing. Okay, I'll sing something. Hey, Wade, do you remember how the song King of Kings starts? Or does anybody remember? Because I know the whole song if I can think of the first couple of verses. If you can give me the first couple of words, I'll know. Somebody? No, King of Kings. Huh? Let It Go. I'm not singing Let It Go, Daniela. I'm singing something more. I think the only part of Let It Go I know is just the let it go, let it go. Look up the first couple of words, Wayne. Okay. Wayne's playing the music for me. In the darkness we were waiting, without hope and without light. Oh my gosh, I can't sing it without music. Till when you came running, there was mercy in your eyes. To fill the law and prophet, in the church and came the birth. I can't sing this song. Cradle in the dirt. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. I'm totally unprepared and not warmed up, guys. So sorry. Kingdom coming and to reconcile the lost, to redeem the whole creation. You did not despise the cross, for even in your suffering, you saw to the other side. This was our salvation. Jesus, for our sake you died. Okay, that's all you're gonna get. That's all you're getting. Thanks, guys. That was sweet. I'm not warmed up at all. I actually didn't. I haven't even had water in like 2 hours. So thanks, guys. Oh, that was sweet. I'll sing again sometime, maybe when I'm warmed up, but I'm not gonna do it right now. Anyway, what else is going on, guys? Anything else that we want to chat about?
Maybe we'll sing together.
What'd you say, Wayne?
So maybe we'll sing together.
Yeah, Wayne said we're gonna sing together sometime. You heard it. You heard it from him. That's what he said. He's in the background.
Oh.
He said he's gonna sing with me sometime. He's never sung with me ever. Well, I mean, like he sung at church with me, but like not together. It's 18 degrees, Chuck. Are you serious? Hey, Chuck, I've got a funny story. So our dogs, like they eat everything else. They eat blankets too. So all of our blankets, except for the one on our bed, have holes in them. Well, that's not true. There's a couple other ones, but they're like good blankets that we put away. So anyway, so Wayne's like, you better order Chuck a blanket for when he comes. And so I've been meaning to order this blanket on Amazon, and Wayne's like, are you gonna wait till like the day before Chuck comes and then be like, we don't have a blanket for you? And I was like, yeah, and then I'm gonna tell him it's just like home. You're gonna be cold. Sorry. So no, I promise I'm gonna order it tonight. It'll be here probably tomorrow or the next day if I order it tonight. So I don't want you to be cold. And I'm not going to give you a hole with blankets. That's just weird. I do have heat. Yes, that's true. I do have heat. But if you don't want to be in the heat and you want to be like home, you can sleep out on in the sunroom. There's no heat out there. I mean, you can put a heater out there, but there's no heat out there.
There is a heater out there.
Yeah, there is a heater out there, but we just don't use it. He says he's gonna cuddle with the dog. Which one? You have your pick. You could have.
You can have all four of them.
Yeah, you can have all four of them if you want. You can cuddle with all four of them. Lila, she's the warm one. I'd say if you need somebody to keep you warm, I would say Lila. If you want somebody to just like jump on top of you and and with no regard for personal space, that would be Maverick. Yeah, that's what I said. Benny, just like his apartment, he doesn't have any heat, so I'll just make it just like home and just put him outside in the sunroom. I mean, it's comfy out there. There's a couch, but I've slept out there numerous times in the summer. But I wouldn't want to do it right now unless I had the heater going. The heater, we have a fireplace, like an electric fireplace out there, and that with that and the like a little electric heater, it does stay pretty warm out there. But that's how Wayne is able to do his lives out there normally. I'm not that brave. I did it at the kitchen table. I'm at the dining room table. Anyway, guys, well, it's been really fun, and I appreciate you guys joining and supporting me in my first live, even though it's not actually my first live. It's actually me borrowing Wayne's for a live, but hopefully next week, by then, I'll be able to be on my own live since when I went to go to open my live, it started asking me all these questions like to verify my age, and I'm like, should I be flattered? Maybe I don't look 18. But I don't think that's what it is at all. I'm sure I look my age, which is the ripe age of 29, of course. I love you too, Melissa. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining. But I will see you guys next week, or maybe on Wayne's live sometime this week. If not before, maybe I'll make a guest appearance. But I appreciate you guys. I have no idea how to turn this thing off, so Wayne's gonna have to help. Oh, up there. I see it.